Hello, everyone. Welcome back to 3 News Now. I'm Stephanie Haney. Today is Thursday, October 8th, and I have your top headlines for you from WKYC.com and our WKYC app. Thank you very much for choosing to be here with me this afternoon to get filled in on what's impacting you here in Northeast Ohio. We have the latest news out of Governor Mike DeWine's press conference today, and he says Ohio is trending in the wrong direction when it comes to COVID-19, talking about the number of counties that are at the level 3 red alert and also the number of counties in Ohio that are at the level 2 orange alert. Governor Mike DeWine says that we are seeing these high numbers at the red and orange level because local health departments are saying there is lax social distancing, not enough people wearing masks, and people not following quarantine and isolation guidelines. Governor Mike DeWine said that outbreaks in half of the new red counties are related to funerals and weddings, and he specifically brought up the case of people attending weddings that led to the death of 2 grandfathers, which is something that has been stressed throughout this pandemic, the impact that COVID-19 can have on older Americans. So here's that new information about the red and orange level counties here in Ohio. As of this week, 96% of Ohioans are living in either a red or an orange county. That's 26% of Ohioans are living in a total of 18 red counties, and 70% of Ohioans are living in a total of 58 orange counties. Now, the 18 red counties, that's the highest number of red counties that we have seen since the week of July 23rd. And those 58 orange counties, that's the highest number of orange counties we have seen since the governor instituted this new public health advisory. Now, to give you a reminder, the level 2 orange level, that indicates increased exposure and spread of COVID-19. And at that point, residents are supposed to exercise a high degree of caution under the public health advisory. Now, at that level 3, this is a very high rate of exposure and spread where residents are supposed to limit activities as much as possible. Now, level 4, which is that highest level, that's that purple level under the governor's advisory, that means severe exposure and spread where people are only supposed to leave their homes for supplies and services. Now, here in Northeast Ohio, the counties that are under the level 3 red alert are now Portage, Trumbull, Mahoning, Ashland, and Richland. Again, the governor is saying Ohio is trending in the wrong direction because people are quite simply not following protocols. Something new that we're learning about protocols, or at least that's being articulated better now that wasn't previously said, is that a negative COVID-19 test doesn't mean that you don't have to quarantine or self-isolate if you were exposed to someone who is positive for COVID-19, with medical professionals now telling us that there is a few days where you could still be in that incubation period after being exposed to COVID-19. You could later test positive. So very important distinction that we're learning there, which really came out as we started discussing the president's condition where he is now recovering with COVID-19. Now we have those numbers from the Ohio Department of Health. So let's look at what's happening here in Ohio across the board when it comes to those specific numbers. And in the last 24 hours, we've seen the largest increase in new daily reported cases since July. That number is 1,539 new daily reported cases of COVID-19. Now, remember, this is the data point where there's a little bit of a delay in reporting of the data because that information has to get back to the Ohio Department of Health. So this isn't exactly 1,539 new positive COVID-19 tests today, but these are the ones that were reported to the Ohio Department of Health today. As for the last 7 days, the average rate of positive tests is at 3.3%, and the latest daily figure is 3.9%. So we're talking about all the COVID-19 testing that's being done. These are the percentage of tests that are coming back positive. Now, in the last 24 hours, new daily reported deaths are down. There's also a delay in this number, but yesterday there were 23 new reported deaths. Today, 13 new reported deaths. Also, 109 new hospitalizations in the last 24 hours. That's down from yesterday when there were 119 new hospitalizations, but the number of people who are currently in the hospital right now is still up from yesterday. We're continuing to see this number go up, which is not something that we want to see here in Ohio. The total number of people now hospitalized with COVID-19 is 863. That's 49 more people than yesterday when you account for all the things that can happen. That includes people being admitted to the hospital, people being discharged from the hospital, unfortunately, people passing away in the hospital also included in that figure. The number of patients who are currently in the ICU is 229. So that's about 27% of all people who are hospitalized are being treated in the ICU, specifically for COVID-19 we're talking about here. We've seen 11 new ICU admissions in the last 24 hours. That's down from yesterday when there were 17 new ICU admissions. And when it comes to our hospital beds throughout the state, 74% of them are being used right now. So 26% of the hospital beds around the state are available for people that need to be treated in a hospital. Now let's take a look at the U.S. and the global numbers for COVID-19. These come from Johns Hopkins University. The total number of reported cases across the U.S. dating back to the beginning of the pandemic is now at 7,570,173, and the total number of deaths across the U.S. related to COVID-19 is now at 212,237. As a reminder, I know we say this every day, but it definitely bears repeating. The U.S. has just over 4% of the global population, but we have 20% of the global COVID-19 deaths and 21% of the global COVID-19 cases that have been reported so far. Globally, we are now over 36 million. That's a new milestone globally, and we've surpassed it by quite a bit. 36,306,189 reported cases of COVID-19. And in terms of the deaths globally, that number is now 1,057,996. So we've been talking about the very big picture. Now let's bring it back to home. Kent State University has now announced that 110 more students are being told to quarantine due to COVID-19 in their residence halls. Kent State announced today that those 110 students will be quarantining in Fletcher Hall. So there were 53 students who were told they have to quarantine until October 19th, and 57 students have to quarantine until October 20th. This is on the 3rd floor and the 4th floor of Fletcher Hall at Kent State. So there will be arrangements made so they're able to bring meals to them, and they'll be able to do their classes virtually. This is in addition to the 57 students who were previously told that they had to quarantine at Kent State. Those students are in the Kuntz Residence Hall and also the Centennial Court East Residence Hall. So the university is working with those students in order to arrange for them to do virtual learning rather than going to those in-person courses. Now, Kent State is asking anyone who believes they're a close contact or experiencing symptoms of COVID-19, call the Kent State University response team. That number is 330-675-2525. Again, that's 330-675-2525. Now, as we're talking about Ohio trending in the wrong direction, as we're talking about all these students who are being asked to quarantine at Kent State University, the presidential candidates continue to debate the debate. The Nonpartisan Commission of Presidential Debates did say that next week's debate, which was scheduled for October 15th in Miami, would be virtual because the President of the United States is recovering from COVID-19. But President Donald Trump said he'll just skip it then. He said that he'll have a rally instead. Well, Vice President Joe Biden, former Vice President Joe Biden, current Democratic presidential candidate, suggested pushing it back to October 22nd. Well, there was already a debate scheduled for October 22nd, and that was supposed to be the third and final debate in Nashville. Well, President Trump's team said, okay, we'll push it back to October 22nd, but they also want to have another debate then on October 29th, and they are also not budging about them being in person. Trump's team does not want to have any virtual presidential debates. Well, Joe Biden's team said, no, not having a debate on October 29th, not that close to the presidential election. Biden's campaign said, Donald Trump doesn't make the debate schedule, the debate commission does. Now, President Trump's campaign manager, Bill Stapien, who, by the way, also tested positive from COVID-19. He's one of the 30 people within the president's orbit who has now tested positive with COVID-19. He had said that the commission, which is completely nonpartisan, by the way, and has been running presidential and vice presidential debates since 1987. But Bill Stapien, Trump's campaign manager, said that the commission was siding with Biden by choosing to make the next debate virtual. And saying that they would hold a rally instead. Well, Biden said that he would adhere to the commission rules and that things are constantly changing when it comes to what's coming out of the Trump campaign's messaging. So he would adhere to the rules, and if they say virtual, it'll be virtual. And he says he can't really talk about what he would do if they choose to have a rally instead because everything changes day by day. But to Bill Stapien's comment that the commission was siding with Joe Biden here, Biden had said that if they had recommended moving forward, his campaign would do that, although he did say that there should not be any debates while the president is recovering from COVID-19. But the commission said that they made their decision to go virtual, citing the need to protect the health and safety of all involved with the second presidential debate. And we now know that it was actually staffers associated with producing the debate who raised safety concerns about the president testing positive for the virus following that first presidential debate that was with Joe Biden here in Cleveland. Now, that's according to a person familiar with the matter. Now, President Donald Trump, who is recovering from COVID-19, of course, at the White House, he spent 4 days and 3 nights at Walter Reed Medical Center, continues to insist that he is in great shape, and he called the idea of a virtual debate a joke. He says he's not going to do a virtual debate. That's what he told Fox Business earlier today. So they continue to debate the debate, and we'll see what happens if we get to see another presidential debate before the election, which, by the way, is less than 4 weeks away, coming up on November 3rd. Now, here is some shocking news out of Michigan with an Ohio tie. A group of men are said to have met in Dublin in order to come up with a plan to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. This is a total of 6 men who are now charged with plotting to kidnap Governor Whitmer. They said, according to the FBI, that they viewed her power as uncontrolled. The criminal complaint identified these men as Adam Fox, Ty Garbin, Caleb Franks, Daniel Harris, Brandon Caserta, who are all from Michigan, and also Barry Croft from Delaware. Now, according to the complaint, Adam Fox said that he needed 200 men to storm the Capitol building in Lansing, Michigan, and take hostages, including Governor Whitmer. Then, of course, talk changed to kidnapping her at her vacation home in northern Michigan. But Adam Fox said that he wanted to try Governor Whitmer for treason and would do this before the November 3rd election. Now, these men are accused of plotting for months, consulting and training with militia members, and also holding rehearsals in August and September. And according to the FBI and the complaint, 4 of those 6 men plan to meet on Wednesday in order to make a payment on explosives and exchange tactical gear. The FBI said that one of those men is quoted as saying Whitmer, quote, has no checks and balances at all. She has uncontrolled power right now, and all good things must come to an end. This is all obviously very scary information. The government used informants and undercover agents to thwart this plot. The 6 men were arrested on Wednesday night. Now, they each face up to life in prison if convicted of the charges against them. U.S. Attorney Andrew Burge called them violent extremists and said that we all have our political disagreements, but it should never rise to violence, and violence was prevented. Definitely a very scary moment if all of those allegations prove to be true, and just absolutely wild the time that we find ourselves in right now. Let's talk about some good news that's happening here in downtown Cleveland. Playhouse Square is celebrating completion of the Lumen apartment tower. This is in downtown Cleveland. This is the largest residential development in downtown Cleveland in 40 years. This is at the corner of Euclid Avenue and East 17th Street, and it has beautiful views of downtown Cleveland and also Lake Erie. There's 318 apartments, which 86 of them are already rented. If you are interested, we do have information about that on WKYC.com. Some of the things at the complex include an outdoor terrace with gas grills, a fireside lounge, a heated lap pool, that sounds pretty nice, a fitness center, a business center, and workstations. And here is something that I personally think downtown Cleveland cannot have enough of. It has a rooftop deck and a lounge with a warming kitchen. Some other amenities that they have: a pet spa and a dog run, a 24-hour concierge. Here's another thing that's really important downtown Cleveland: attached parking garage with a private entrance for residents. So it sounds pretty great, and they are officially done with all that construction. They've been having residents come in since July, but they had construction going on the top floors, and now the Lumen is completely done and ready to fill up all of those apartments in downtown Cleveland. So if you're into downtown living, that might be something that you want to check out. Now, here is a fun fact for you. Why did they name it the Lumen? It's not just some fancy word. There's actually meaning behind it. The point is to reflect the energy surrounding Playhouse Square and the importance of light in theater and in general in the Playhouse Square district. So specifically talking about that GE chandelier that's so beautiful that's hanging there, the marquees, that retro Playhouse Square sign, and also the gateways. Another great thing today's National Pierogi Day. Who doesn't love a good pierogi? So Rudy's Strudel and Bakery is holding an event in the parking lot today so that people can keep that safe physical distance. That's until 7 p.m. tonight in Parma. So they will have 10 different kinds of pierogies. They will have polka music, a DJ, all kinds of fun festivities, and that is until 7 p.m. tonight because tonight is National Pierogi Day. They're also celebrating their new neighbor, a music store. It's called the Current Year Vintage Records that is just opened, and also to celebrate Parma Art Space, which is Parma's first and only art gallery, is offering 10% off today if you come in with a receipt from Rudy's Pierogi Day. Now, looking forward, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, we know, of course, is not having an in-person induction ceremony this year, but they are having an HBO special, and they just announced the guests that will be a part of that today. So this year's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees, to remind you, are Depeche Mode, the Doobie Brothers, Whitney Houston, 9 Inch Nails, the Notorious B.I.G., and T-Rex. And then also the Ahmet Ertegun Award honorees include John Landau and Irving Azoff. So for the HBO special, to honor all of these people, that's coming up, by the way, on Saturday, November 7th, the special guests will be Luke Bryan, Miley Cyrus, Jennifer Hudson, Billy Idol, Alicia Keys, Adam Levine, Lin-Manuel Miranda, Brad Paisley, Bruce Springsteen, Ringo Starr, Gwen Stefani, Charlize Theron, Sean Diddy Combs. More people. We've got them all listed on WKYC.com. You have to check it out. It's going to be an amazing event. Dave Grohl is kicking off the show with a very heartfelt introduction to this year's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame class. And then the special guests, of course, will be entertaining throughout the show while those people are all honored. That is it for your 3 News Now afternoon update for Thursday, October 8th. I will see you next on What's New with your trending stories in the Clicking in Cleveland segment. That's coming up at 5 p.m., which you can also stream for free in the WKYC app. And if you're listening to this on your favorite podcast platform provider, I appreciate you so much. Please subscribe, rate and review the show so that we can get in front of more people and connect with more people here in Northeast Ohio. I appreciate you all so much. Everyone, enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Stay safe and be well, and I'll see you back here tomorrow. I'm Stephanie Haney.